Welcome back to the Twin Chickens podcast, episode number 7, I think. Yeah, I think it's episode 7, dude. We're cruising today. We don't have a guest, but we have the OGs.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah. How have you been?
I've been excellent.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
In a short amount of time.
Well, let's open up the show, and then let's get started. Let's get some stuff going. Here's the first one.
Hey! Can I have your number?
Oh!
Never mind!
Totally failed. Well, you never have to try that hard for women. Right?
I never tried that hard. That seems like too much effort to go to.
You never have to do a backflip to impress someone?
The most I do is like an aerial. And Graham knows me best on this. Like, if I truly wanted to impress somebody because people were doing stuff outside, the most I would do is just like a cartwheel without hands.
Right.
It's called an aerial. And so...
Well, what I was going to get to is, like, how did you meet... because right now you're seeing a lady. I don't think is she your official...
we haven't put a label on it.
Okay. Just curious who came up to who first. Like, if she was going to be here, I had this curated for her as well, but she's just not here. For yourself, who came up to who first, and what was that all about?
Actually, I met her online on Bumble.
Yeah, and out of all places, man.
It's been a solid month of jam-packed everything with my life, so I don't remember much of our texting conversations, but once we actually finally met up, right. I took her to the nature center over by my parents' place, and
which is a really romantic spot.
It was pretty cool.
It's where you took me the first time.
She ended up, like, last minute bringing her dog, and so we didn't end up going in because no dogs allowed. So we just walked along the path around it pretty much, but it was a good time.
Dude, heck
and
yeah.
Got to have fairly quality conversation. It wasn't like really in depth, but it was just like a get to know you conversation as we walked and talked, and
but it was fun.
I felt like it was fun and connected more.
Right.
I guess as time progressed, after like the second or third time we hung out, things started getting like more comfortable.
Right.
And
which is usually what happens.
That's when things got more fun.
Because then she doesn't see the serial killer inside you. You know?
Yeah, it's like, oh, where are you gonna take me, or whatever. Like, I hope this isn't drug. I don't know. Yeah, whatever goes through somebody's mind. Yeah,
well, the girl or guy is always checking off red flags immediately. Like, well, how far are we going? Can I still call the cops? Things like that.
Is it easier just to jump out of the car?
Yeah, like, what's gonna kill me first, you know? So, she reached out to you first on Bumble, or you did? Oh no, she does, because it's Bumble, right?
Bumble. What do you say?
I think that's the girl
has to.
Yeah, fantastic. I think the last date I told you the last date I went on was with this really cute chick. She was very short. She was like about like my nipple height, I guess. And we went out to, like an outdoorsy thing. I think it was like a lake park. And she wanted to jog, like, immediately. I was like, I thought we were just going to, like, walk, have a good little chat and just walk around. She was ready to jog. She came there with, like, her jogging jeans. And she had, like, a hat on. She was already working out. And I'm like, I wasn't built for this. I think I was just done working that day. And throughout the entire day, I was just, my shoes, I just can't tie shoes. Arty's weakness is fucking shoes. I can't tie shoes. So every time they would just keep getting untied, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm a child. I need to tie my shoes.
It's not Achilles' heel. It's Arturo's shoes.
Exactly. It's these fucking things. That's why, like, for the longest time, I went with Velcro, because I'm that much of an idiot that doesn't know how to tie shoes.
But, dude, if you got Velcro with the fucking light-up Skechers...
Even better. Or the Heelys?
You're taking levels of... puss that you can't imagine.
Oh, not even close, man. So I think I put it in her eyes when I was in that date that, like, oh, Arty, if I can't even tie my shoes, how am I even gonna pay for, like, a loan for a house or whatever the fuck? And this girl already had everything, man. She was a teacher. She got her own house already, and she was like 2 years younger than me. And it's like, dang, like what are you gonna get from a guy who can't even tie his own shoes? So from there we never went on another date, and I think we just kind of ended it from there. But it was like, it's interesting the people that you meet on there.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah.
And with how like the last, I don't go out much. I've only been on seen 2 Bumble dates.
Right.
Or like actually online dates at all. But the first one didn't go well, and she kind of seemed sketch.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me this.
I won't even go into it, but I was just cautious of like, do I really like? Will this be a thing? Or am I just
your red flags?
Am I entertaining myself just by going on these dates?
Right.
Is it truly something I'm trying to be more passionate for or whatever? But
I'm glad that didn't work out, because now you found well we don't know what it is yet, but now you found someone that you're compatible with.
Man, it's super cool to see that this person has already been connected with my world in a small world way. Like, they know people I already have known.
Yeah,
for
small
my
world
life.
scenario. Like, how's this possible?
Mm-hmm. It was just like one step away. Like, oh, now more people know the people I know.
Right. I always think that's interesting, man. And for me, I always think it's just easier to meet someone like when you go to not a bar, but like, outdoor scenery.
Yeah,
because you're right there in your face.
You're just communicating and socializing.
Any love advice, or not love advice? Let's go with this. Any advice about dating online versus dating in person? It
felt awkward at first. Like,
how did you counter that?
I felt like it was just doing exactly what you'd think you do, is just try to hang out, have a good time, and just a little get to know you. Like, what do you do? Likes, dislikes, whatever.
Right.
Just a small get to know you. It was just something inside me that I didn't let fester that much. I was just aware of
like how
that
awkward,
feeling.
Yeah,
but I didn't try to counter it. It's just like
you have to let it out. Basically.
Yeah, it was gonna be an emotion that I just needed to let pass.
I saw this thing on New Girl. Is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I keep watching New Girl in The Office every year. Anyway, doesn't matter. There's a character named Nick who I'm very close to the Nick character. If you guys know New Girl, I'm like the Nick character, just very grumpy and angry like all the fucking time. Anyway, he meets a chick that they have almost everything in common. Nick is pretty much homeless. He lives in a loft with like everyone else, but he's a pretty much homeless guy, borderline homeless, I should say. Where he meets a girl who's almost exactly the same, has similar tendencies. So when they first meet on their date, they're like, "Can we just skip this and just like actually just go to the stuff that we want to do?" Like I hate the asking the questions and like we already know each other. Like and they just jump in and it's like it fits like a glove, the relationship. Just skipping all the bullshit.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I still wanted to go through that. Since I didn't know until my world burst after people knew the person, like knew my date.
Right.
That kind of just shattered. Like, okay, I feel like I really trust this person. Somebody I value and trust already with my life values and trusts this person because they grew up together. I feel way more comfortable being around this person.
Right.
And that just shattered a wall.
Oh, fantastic.
And so before then it was definitely more like, okay, hey, I still don't know you, and I feel like there's a lot of uncertainties that I need to get over, and not necessarily that she might be going through as well, I guess.
Right. Which is great. It's always good that you guys figure that out, it's just insanely cool. Anyway, it's enough about our personal love lives at the moment. Let's move on.
I would love to talk about that more, but we should
yeah, we got another thing.
Catch up with another video.
I think it's this one.
That computer call. Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
Is that how you got her? That used to be me, by the way. I used to come up to my lady, and now I know better, obviously, but I used to be like, hey, I'm feeling romantical.
I'm going to use that line. I'm stealing it.
Yeah, man, by all means. Well, moving on from that, obviously, you know, I'm a huge romantic. I believe in the power of love and all that stuff. That's just my thing. And right now, this whole time, I've just been working on myself. For you, do you think that you've actually like grown from your past relationships and not bringing in any baggage into this one, or like a fresh start kind of thing?
Yeah, and I'm actually extremely grateful that I let time pass between the last one. Like, there was 2 years since I've been like since I was in a relationship, I guess. And it has allowed me, like, I've wanted to pursue relationships, but I haven't found a person that clicked. Haven't found a person that clicked.
Because you have dated numerous women before.
But now I feel after, especially 2 years is a lot to develop, especially getting out of my teens.
Right.
Does a lot to a young person. And so I feel with all my gained experiences, it's accumulated to being more confident in myself.
Right.
Is what I feel boils down to.
So then what you're saying is that you are 100% a straight male.
Not. I could care less.
About like who will you date? It's just more of the person that you're compatible with.
Yeah.
So we could date.
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard it here first. That's amazing.
I'll call my bandmates, and now you've officially joined us, I want to say, to our small band, Elite Bullshit.
Yeah, well,
but
it's
my
working,
bandmates are my boyfriends, and there's no getting around that.
Yeah, that's just how it is. It's amazing. Well, I always thought like I've never like hinted at the fact that I was like I'm very straight. Like that's just I can't see. I have never been attracted to another man before. It's more the fact of like I see, and I could understand why other men find other men, you know, appealing. I've just I never found that in myself to like, you know, if a guy ever came up to me and he like meets the requirement, then I'd be like, oh my god, you know?
No, that's never happened.
That's never happened to me.
Like, oh my god,
like
Magic Mike.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, you know. It just hasn't. So for me, like I just know this is where I'm at. But in any case, so you're off the table for your Grindr account too, right? Like that's off the table now.
I've never had a Grindr.
So
I don't try when it comes to relationships.
Right.
Or finding people, I should say. It was, but if I did, I feel like I'd have a lot more accounts. There'd be, I'd find underground stuff like Yellow. There used to be this app called Yellow.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It used to be called Yubo.
Yeah.
This was like
years ago. Yeah.
2014.
It's a little dated. Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe it could have been a little bit later, but around 2014, 2015, and then a year later it switched. But regardless, I don't try with relationships. But what were we talking about? I feel like I just
you logged off of your Grindr account.
Oh,
you're exclusively into
exclusively. Now you can just check out my content on OnlyFans.
Yeah, even better.
Except I don't have a handle yet.
No, we'll get to it. It's just nothing but pictures of his feet, literally. In any case, that does, and I'm not here to shame anyone. Like, date whoever you want. If you want to date a guy, date a girl, them, they. That's all you. That's even better. That like now we live in an age that like if you are bi or straight or gay or whatever, you can find a specific niche. You know,
absolutely.
Like, or a dating app or whatever.
And the openness, cool. Then it's not extreme. People find love in the most interesting ways. Yeah. And that's beautiful.
It is. It is definitely, man. Let's move on to a different one. That's very well said, my guy. Let's go to this one.
Come on, guys. I need a couple of guys over here.
That was a lot to take in.
That was a lot. I'm trying to comprehend what that video just was.
Yeah.
it took me a second to realize that was like a pastor.
Yeah.
And some dude was, I thought he was laughing and just like turned to the side to avoid laughing, but the pastor's staring at him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he takes a couple steps because like
I can't comprehend that.
So this guy
What do
was
you take?
he was supposedly possessed, right? So it's a demonic possession, and when you're at church, how should I say this? Whatever religion, like you so put it before, whatever religion you subscribe to,
Yeah.
it becomes your reality. At least that's what I always believe.
I'm 100% with that.
So whether you are what's it called, Buddhist or atheist, Catholic, or whatever, that becomes your reality. So if you are Buddhist, then you inherently start to see signs, or will interpret signs as either the Heavenly Father or whatever demonic other thing, or Shiva, whatever. You start to see those entities or those other things in a higher sense. So in this case, this was at a church where you're in there, even if you don't or you do believe in God. In this instance, it's a demon that manifests into the person. So like I said, if you were like Buddhist, it would be something else, evil entity, and you would associate that name to be whatever. So that's why, like, whatever religion you subscribe to, that becomes your reality. So in this case, yes, this guy was possessed, and in order for the pastor to like check on him, he slaps him on the chest with the Bible. I always think that's kind of funny because like, and then like later on, he's like, "We need like 2 guys over here. Like this is enough."
We're gonna just beat the crap out of this guy.
Do you believe in demonic possessions or anything like that?
I believe it can happen to people if they believe it.
Yeah.
I guess
that's what I believe, yeah.
I haven't seen enough paranormal activity or religious activity to believe that something else or some other entity can fully take on another person.
Absolutely.
It could very well be. I guess I haven't just seen it. I need to see it physically.
I used to go to a church in St. Paul. I mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no.
There's a church in St. Paul where they do demonic. They cure people of possessions or demonic possessions or whatever.
And I wonder, like, mind if I cut you off?
Yeah.
If that the demonic possessions are just people with mental illnesses that are in their own heads, they can't escape, but they're able to go to church and get that cleansing, and it's just a psychological switch, hopefully, for them.
Sometimes it is, and this is where there's a fine border between it, because churches are accessible to who?
Because who's to say that it starts off mental, but people feed off each other's energies,
right?
And so who's to say there isn't just an energy somewhere that if someone was in a bad place and already mentally not capable of holding themselves, an energy takes in, demonic possession, I guess it seems plausible.
I mean, for me, it definitely is possible, but it, like I said, not so much the demonic possession, it's more the fact of your mental state. Because like I was saying before, churches are accessible to everyone. So your local crackhead dealer or crackhead could just walk in, and we could think that he's possessed, and they can do the whole like, oh wait, maybe he is, and then they can hold him down, squirt some holy water on him, and then do the whole sermon or whatever. But that doesn't necessarily, like people. I assume some people would know, like, oh, he's just on drugs, or maybe he is possessed. But that's not for me to say. It's for a higher power or higher being to be like, oh, this person's probably just ill, mentally ill. Which a lot of those people that go to church, I can definitely understand. Like when you see someone tweaking, like, oh, maybe something's happening there. I used to go to a church where they did live cleansings.
Okay, I bet that was interesting.
Deeply disturbing.
I bet.
Deeply disturbing. So when you go there, like I said, I used to be in a Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and then when I was in high school, all of my bandmates we were in a heavy metal Christian band. We're all Christians, so I went to their church, and every church that I've went to just seemed completely different. So the Catholic one was like more to my origins of like pretty standard. You go there, you do mass, and then you leave. Other churches have this whole mainly choir section that takes over the whole sermon, which is what the Christian one was, where the choir is now the bishops or now the fathers or whatever, doing the sermons and doing the choir all integrated into one. It was like the most like highly produced thing I've ever seen, in terms of like a church service, which is fine. If that's what you want, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And then there was the demonic one. So my uncle, told me about this church, and I'm like, hey, you
kid,
know what?
You want to go to this underground church?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it was like it was the first time. I mean, I haven't gone to church in a long time from high school to like when my uncle asked me. So I'm like, you know what? Nothing else has worked out. So like, maybe I can try this out.
Did you get cleansed?
Something weird. No, I did not, but something was like off. So immediately when you go to church, there's always that one person who's just really into it, right? I don't know if you know who's like always stands up 10 seconds earlier before like the preacher says stand up or whatever.
And then there's always the guy in the very back that when the pastor says something real moving, he's like, amen.
Exactly. Dude, they're really into it. So for me, it was there was this girl she was like not girl, she was very old. She was like at least in her 60s, and everyone else is like dressed in a business suit, by the way, like heavy business suits, right? So it seemed like it was more business than actual.
It was professional.
Exactly. It felt really strange to me. But my uncle was like, "Hey, let's try this out. This church has done wonders for us. So come with us and just try it out." So I did. So this girl was decked out like almost in Indian attire, I should say.
Okay.
And I mean just like gems and like crystals or
everything's fancy.
Everything. And I don't think she was like Indian. It's just like that's to me like the style of clothing, like
Gotcha.
Eastern Indian, I guess I should say. If that's even you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so before the church starts, everyone's still getting in their seat. She's already dancing. Already dancing in the middle. We have the balcony, or we have like the stables or whatever. And then there's the middle.
Like aren't people just gonna stand in the rows? But she was already dancing in the middle.
She's already dancing. There's no music. Everyone's just walking in, shaking hands. My uncle introduced me to the pastor there, and he was not like any pastor I would have ever imagined. When you imagine like a father, pastor, or whatever, they're always in their uniform, as in like the robes or whatever. This guy was in a heavy business suit, like $1 million watch kind of stuff, and like I don't really care so much about that stuff. It's more of like it wasn't. I didn't believe him to be the pastor until later on. He's like, hey, there's this girl that like is in a wheelchair, and we're gonna give her the miracle of God, and she's gonna walk today. And I'm like, what is going on? What? Yes. So essentially, I can't believe I never told this story. But
please enlighten me.
So there's 3 things that happen. So they perform what they call miracles, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm ready for the next few sentences.
So a couple of people have taken other churches that do the same thing, and they like expose them. I don't really see how they could have done this. Possibly they could have like maybe made it fake, but there's a girl in a wheelchair, tries to walk, she falls, and her legs are like shrunk. They're like, I don't know, half. Like, how your legs are like, oh, you have 2 segments, right? Mm-hmm. To your kneecap, to your leg.
Oh yeah, and I
ankle.
suppose if you don't use your legs,
mm-hmm.
your muscles just disintegrate. So
yes,
she would collapse.
It was unproportional, I should say. So instead of her leg actually being like the same distance from your hip to your thing, it was shorter.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she looked proportionally from her body and arms and everything, but it was just shorter from her kneecap to there. So they put her on the floor, spray holy water, do whatever, and the pastor comes up and he starts. To me, it was nonsense. He was like, doing, not even saying words. But my cousin told me, who was with me there as well, he's like, he's actually saying the words of God, and God doesn't speak in English, as we know. Like, he speaks in basically not gibberish, but in the angelic stance. So you wouldn't, if God came down, he would talk. I would assume he would talk to me in my language that I would understand.
Speak through you.
Yeah, and by the way, I do have the theory that if God ever came down, our heads would explode because we can't comprehend that. Which is another subject for another time.
We should save that for another time. I want to talk about that.
There's actually a great YouTube video that I love to watch. Anyway, we'll go back to that. In any case, he starts doing his thing, and there's two people that hold the girl's arms, and she's laying horizontal on the floor, and everyone stands up so they can see that, and they're all filming it. And the other guy goes to her legs and basically stretches her legs out like it's some kind of fucking taffy pudding or whatever the fuck. And then she gets up and she starts walking. Now her legs are more proportional to what they were. They used to be like her legs used to be where her fucking like a little bit below her kneecaps or her feet. But now they've been stretched out. I don't know how that could be real or fake.
Here is my input.
Yes. By all means. I don't, like, some people have been trying to expose these things. I don't care if it's really real or not because I don't subscribe to that thing. But your take.
I believe everybody has the power to self-heal.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is true. It is a real thing.
She needed help. She got what she needed, people to believe in her, that she was going to be fixed.
Yeah.
Fixed.
Right.
Or like, be able to walk. And so after, how long was it?
I think it was like a 10-minute thing.
Her legs.
Extended, yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's amazing. That's unreal shit.
It's unreal, and I got to witness that. And the other thing I got to witness was a demonic possession where, like, I didn't know where this was coming from, right? I was just sitting there. It's like halfway through the mass. Some guy starts tweaking on the back. Like, doing...
Yeah.
Like, straight up, like... like that.
Yeah.
So, the pastor's like... He's doing his thing, and then he's like... As soon as he hears it, he goes like, and then like he's like, "Hey, John and Steve, like, can you go get him?" And then like these guys in their suits go and get this guy who like has sandals on, has like basically like a what's it called, just cargo shorts and like a shirt. And as they get him, he's just like, whatever the fuck, right? They bring him to the front row, and then the pastor, like I said, he explains to us, this guy has felt the presence of God in this room, and now he's there's a demon inside of him that's trying to fight back, and he's like, trying to give the thing of like, everyone say it with me, give him the power of love, give him the power of Christ and everything. So we're all doing it, and I'm just like, this is my first day. I don't know what to fucking do.
We're like, let's go with this.
Yeah,
I guess.
So everyone's like doing their like putting their arm out to extend, the power of Christ, and I'm like, is it to or left or right? I don't fuck.
You're like, do I use all fingers,
yeah,
or is it just
like Spider-Man? Can I just Spider-Man the hole and then just
like as long as I'm giving them the power of love, I'm gonna do it my way.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's my first day, and I'm like, what's going on?
Go Spider Gadget.
Exactly. So then, the preacher, like I said, like they don't talk when he. I should say that this way, when he talks in the gibberish kind of stance, it's actually God talking through him.
So they were just
projecting the words,
talking back and forth. And,
yeah, exactly.
The pastor's just like
something like that. It was more of like, how's you whatever. It was like, to me, it's obviously it sounds gibberish to anybody else, but the guy was just like convulsing. It was just like whatever the fuck, and then he starts seething from his mouth, like fuck, like he took
the pastor or the
guy that was possessed. And then they're spraying holy water on him. Everyone's there's like guys trying to hold him down. And eventually he breaks out from the guys. And then more people, just everyone from the audience, or like quite a bit amount, goes up and like just puts their hands on him. And then he's just like, and then boom, he snaps out of it. It's weird. And I'm like, I am done. I'm out of here. I live 2 blocks away. I just walked home. I'm like, this is too fucking much.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't have to be here.
Yeah, but then like the reason why I never went back, right, is because it just seemed like not staged, but it was just like the biggest, like if you loved your religion, like that would be the place to go. I wasn't there to put in 100% of my time because they believed if they were handing out the basket of like, here, tips, please give us tips to support the church. And I'm like, I always thought that was, depending on the church, I've always had a big deal with it, like, because like churches are funded by the government, or they don't have tax exempt from the government as well. So why should I have to tip the church? You know, I know things like that. Like, and it's probably just my ignorance, but I never really got it. Like, understood. Like, why do I have to give you $10?
I'm not sure.
It was more about paying your devout to God because that's an old.
Oh
custom.
yeah, like the tithing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
that
I feel
is an
like
old custom. I believe.
I feel churches use that, at least specifically Christian ones, just use that for the people that come in. So the church gets funds, but they make bank off that.
They make quite a bit, and I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. It's more of the fact of like, I didn't know what I'd be doing, and in that church it was more of like, if you put in, the more money you put in, the more happiness or the more things you're gonna get out of it. So I'm like, that's a nice what you got there, you know.
It's convenient for the church.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not that guy that just puts in I'll put in like $1, but like, so I did, you know, I grabbed the $1 and I'm like, here's $1, and then the guy that had the basket was just like mean mugging me, like, really? Everyone else is giving like 100, 200, like, what the fuck? And I'm like, dude, I just
like, you have what you have to give.
Yeah, like that's what I don't know. I don't know the fucking rules. So anyway, it just didn't feel right. So for me,
he's like eyeing you down, like, come on, more money.
Yeah, well, it was just like everyone else is giving like $100, $200, whatever the fuck,
That's
and then he comes to me and
crazy,
I just
dude.
give him $1, and he's just like, just waits for me, and then he's like,
$200. That's mind blowing because I don't know about. There's definitely churches I've been to where old people do that, but I feel like that's expensive.
I mean, like, to each their own, right?
Unless people are following that tithing, I want to say that there was like is it 10%?
I think so. Yeah, it was like 10 or basically like, what you would tip.
Okay, I thought it was like 10% of like what you made. I'm not sure what that rule was, but
I used to be told it was 10 or basically 10% of your check, and I'm like, that's a lot.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
like
a lot.
If you're investing that, if that's your religion, that's what you do. Band is my religion.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I would invest in that, and if that's what somebody subscribes to, then
exactly.
Then I guess, you know, that's your investment. That's your Spotify premium that you're paying for.
Exactly. And like I said, to each their own. I'm not here to criticize like a church or anything. I'm just saying my personal experience.
I'm just reflecting off my own personal
it's a lot.
Examples.
Yeah. And that's why I don't go to church.
Specifically the money reasons?
No, it's just too...
Or just all of that?
There's a lot, and I'm like, I just don't feel like it's not my thing. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't, like, personally, I think it'd be a hypocrite if I went to church and started to do that, because I'm not anything of that kind of not role model, but just not, I don't follow the things that the traditional Catholic or Christian or any kind of church, like, I don't follow any of those things, so I'd be a hypocrite and I'd just be going to church to repent my sins every week.
Yeah, and I think it's almost hard to focus on that. Like, it's good, people need routine, and if they need that in their lives, then that's there for them.
It has, church in a sense does save people from their worst nightmares and their worst things. So they exist for a reason, and it's to each their own. Everyone has their own thing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're running.
Let's move on to another video.
We're running out of time, but we have I think this one. Oh no, that's the outro. I'll do the outro here in a second.
Hey, big boy.
Yeah.
Shit. Turn your left. Hey, big boy. Yeah. Hey, big boy.
That's a fucking bear.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, bear. Hey, bear. Hey, bear.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Dude, last night while I was over, I overheard somebody else talking about somebody else was having a conversation, and they were talking about how they went on a hike somewhere. I don't know where it was,
right?
But he was in a group, and they had stumbled across a grizzly bear, and it had pounded its front paws, and the rest of his group started running great idea. And so they ran for like a half mile. Luckily, the bear left them alone.
Can't the bears can outrun anyone.
They can do what they want. It was a mother bear and had cubs and didn't want them near.
Okay, so that was a warning.
Yeah. Otherwise, don't mess with bears.
Why would you even? Why?
It was stupid on his friends' parts to run. You just like.
Yeah, like in the people in the video, they stood there very calmly. Well, the guy that was holding the camera was obviously like trying to control everything of like, hey guy, hey big boy or whatever, like just kind of like giving a tone of like, I'm not afraid, you guys shouldn't be afraid, kind of like just setting a tone.
Yeah.
Because if one person shits the bed, they're all dead.
Yeah.
But that's my thing of like, if you're out in the woods and there's a bear in front of you and you're right behind a car, what the fuck are you doing out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, get in the car.
Yeah, and it's totally setting that tone. It's what you give is kind of what you receive. Like, there was this one cool video that I saw. I know we're running down on time, but it was some jungle exploration, and they needed a guide somewhere, and so a gorilla came like sprinting straight at the guy, and he just stood there and let the gorilla come like to his face. And I think he was telling the other guy like, yeah, if he had flinched even one bit, he would have taken me out, or like taken something out,
right?
And he would not have been the guy. But just to be able to have that self-confidence or whatever of that gorilla coming in would relate to just the situation of being like with the bear. You set the tone.
Yeah, you have to, or you're dead.
You have to make sure your setting settings are good.
See, I'm the kind of guy though that just would never be in that position.
Like if you don't have to put yourself there, why?
Yeah, I know. For me, my mom's in Texas right now, so she took a picture of her boots. She's got her Texas boots on. They're really cute, and next to the photo of that is a dead rattlesnake with its head fucking blown off. And then just captioned, my father-in-law killed this rattlesnake today. Look at my boots. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on down there?
Texas.
This is Texas. Anyway, we had more things to talk about, but our time did go out. Let me just play this outro, and there's some more. I forgot to mention as well, guys. I do have a tip link. If you guys want to support the channel in any way, it helps us not only to get better equipment, but it also supports the show at the same time. Send us a question if you guys just want to give support of like, hey, thank you guys for watching or whatever. If there's something that resonates with you, by all means, let us know. We want to know what you guys took away from the show and just whatever we can do to improve it. So there's the tip link down in the description. Anything helps, honestly.
Absolutely. And yes, please do. It would significantly help our getting on our feet as this channel grows. Yeah. But
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Thank you all for watching, though, and see you next time.
See you next time. Let's play this last.
What are you doing in my swamp?
All right, cool. See you later. Bye.